The once feared fox demon of the Chinku tribe is now trapped in a concentration camp and at the mercy. She was not only forced to enter the valley, and even the warden is coveting his beauty. Women are the high bloodline of the demon race. She was captured by human cultivators on a mission. It turned out that the immortal martial kingdom and the demon kingdom, without a clear winner, both sides sent a large number of spies to win. And Roland was also forced to join the Midi and became one of them. This time, Roland's target is this Chinku fox demon. At this time, the female demon was trapped in the terrain, and her mouth was forcibly fixed. The experimenters planned to use new technology to torture her. This is the new Jew worm developed by Tiangxin Pavilion. It is said that it can disturb the consciousness of demons. The experimenter slowly walked up to the Banshee. The warden couldn't wait to see the effect. The Jew worm was forcibly fed into the mouth of the succubus, and then her body felt strange, and then she couldn't help twitching excitedly. A moment later, the Banshee murmured feebly. The warden seemed to see the effect, so he removed the dilator from her mouth, but he couldn't hear what she was saying clearly. Just as the doctor was getting closer, the witch suddenly regained consciousness and bit the doctor's neck fiercely. And it was a direct fatal bite. It turned out that the Banshee just pretended to be bewitched by the bug. The warden couldn't do anything about her. He had to be locked up first. Adopt the B plan. At this time, an escort vehicle was driving towards the prison. And this man's name is Roland. The bull demon opposite was very upset with him. You still pretend to be human, right? Change back to your body. Let me see if you are a mouse or a duck. What crime did you commit? Roland ignored him directly and glanced at him. The bull demon was not happy and looked at him. I'm asking you, are you dumb? But Roland calmly stated his crime. I stole. I stole from a human official's house, and the bull demon became more and more excited. You demons really yearn to live with humans. You're really embarrassing the demon race. The other criminals also agreed with the bull demon. The pig demon was scared and turned back into a pig. The bull demon kept mocking him and spat a thick phlegm into his shoes. Roland didn't put up with him. Alas, it's a pity. Look at your tattoo. It's the Holy War Honor Society, right? It promotes the retention of demon features, but you're still caught by humans. Just a prisoner. The bull demon's temper went wild. He wanted to teach the boy a lesson. Soon, he also arrived at the demon camp. The warden ordered all the criminals to get off. Roland was unscathed and walked down slowly. The warden found something wrong the list. How to save him? It turned out that the bull demon was directly knocked out in the car. So the warden looked unfriendly and questioned every prisoner. One of the demons pointed out that it was the last guy. The warden walked up to him. Do you know what's the crime of beating other prisoners? Roland wanted to explain that it was self-defense, but was punched hard by the warden in the next second. From now on, you are slaves, and death is the only way if you don't obey. Then he read out Roland's crime. The first offender from 5 kingdoms was sentenced to life. beating other prisoners 7 days in solitary. You beasts, come here and be a slave. Welcome to hell. Then he asked Roland to follow him to the confinement room. The other demons couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. If you go to the confinement room, you're doomed. You'll be tortured even if you don't die. The warden led Roland into the elevator and told others to get to work first. The atmosphere in the elevator was a bit weird. Actually, there's no one here. I don't need to pretend. The warden breathed a sigh of relief. Commissioner Luol, I did a good job in acting. As soon as I received the call from Mistress, I prepared for it. Please help me speak to Boss Lan. But Commissioner is really amazing. He would use prisoners' fight to put them in solitary. But how did you know he would do it? It turned out that Roland also knew the Tattoo is an extremist organization that honors demons. They hate people who abandon their demon features. So he deliberately sat across from him. Hearing this, the warden gave a rainbow body. His admiration for the commissioner was like a river, without end. Then he bowed 90 degrees to apologize for the theft. Luolan lifted his clothes, revealing a scar. The warden saw that. This was the experience that every spy had to endure, transplanting the demon egg to a human. Although the rejection reaction has been reduced to 30%, it was still very dangerous. Then he poked Roland's scar with his hand. The warden felt embarrassed and apologized. Luo Zhanyuan couldn't help himself. Then the warden sincerely showed respect to Roland. You are a person who dances on the tip of a knife. I admire you very much. Wu Yong from Xianwu Kingdom is with you. At this time, he also came to a forbidden room of 621. Boy, I hope you can still be alive in 7 days. And Roland's goal this time is to gain the trust of this woman. This female demon is named Qinku Bailing. She seems to be weak, but Roland knew she was dangerous. And her status in the Fox clan in the demon country is not low. And she is very powerful. It costs a lot to catch her. The warden covered his nose. It really smells like an animal. When will the farmer's life end? Roland asked where this place was. It doesn't look like a prison. To be exact, this is an experimental base, specially set up for you. Luolang was shocked. At this time, Bailing threatened that we'll be paid back 100-fold. Hearing this, the warden sneered coldly. Do you know what you're talking about? You have to obey when you come here. Then he pulled the switch next to him. Genwumi, this is your end. Bailing was shocked and couldn't help screaming. But the warden didn't plan to stop. He took out the stick from his waist. He hit Bailing's stomach hard. Up close, you're really quite pretty. Although you are a beast. But if you can entertain me, it's still good. Your legs are so white. What is your essence? Do you have a tail? Facing the warden's humiliation, Bailing could only endure it silently. At this moment, a pair of hands suddenly pressed the warden. It was Roland. The sudden situation shocked the warden. What does Commissioner Luo want to do? Roland glanced at the warden and said angrily, You humans claim to be civilized countries, but treat the demon prisoners like this. What's the difference between you and us? The warden smiled excitedly. How dare a mere prisoner threaten me? Facing the warden's threat, Luolan was not afraid. I just don't want you to get into unnecessary trouble. Sir, it's better for you to keep distance from us. It's better to keep your distance. Otherwise, there are too many people here. It may affect your future promotion. Those managers and high-ranking officials probably won't like a warden who enjoys teasing the demons. If this kind of despicable act is accidentally spread to their ears, I'm afraid I'll be stuck here for the rest of my life. Hearing this, the warden was shocked. Damn, I was careless just now. I didn't consider this point. Those police officers always like to call themselves clean officials. If they knew I was in this Xi Yao, my career is probably over. The commissioner is really my noble. At such a young age, you know the ways of officialdom. And appropriately reminded me, Commissioner Yuan has a promising future. After thinking for a moment, the warden slowly said, although what you said was good, but he did offend me. I can't let him go easily. If he still can't calm down, I'm willing to let him suffer. Hearing Roland's answer, the warden immediately showed a sinister smile. Boy, you said that. The moment he finished speaking, the warden directly hit Roland with an electric baton. Since you like to show off, I'll give you this chance. After venting his anger, before leaving, the warden also ordered you to beat him hard. Soon, Roland was beaten all over his body. Finally, he fainted after being hit hard on the head. After you being left, Bailing dared to call Roland, "Hey, are you still alive?" But after 2.5 minutes, Roland didn't respond. Could this guy be killed? You're so brave. Who needs your help? Hey, wake up. I don't want to owe you a favor. Bailing rubbed Roland's face with her foot. Luolan. But Roland was in a nightmare. In the dream, he woke up on a tiger stool. A strong light shone on his face. There was a woman sitting across from him. We represent the Special Operations Department of MIDI. To talk to you. You have been selected as a secret agent to perform a special mission. Except for agreeing, you have no choice. After the mission is successful, your past actions will be written off. You will have a new life. Brother Roland, today is my birthday. Remember to buy a chocolate cake back. Suddenly, a handful of sharp horns is placed on Xiaomeng's shoulder. Xiaomeng, shout, Luolan, you must complete the task so that your family can survive. Otherwise, they will be executed because of you. For your family, you must work for us. Don't just do this. Luolan woke up from a coma. Woke up. Bailing shrank her feet under Luolan's scream. Quickly retracted her foot. That seems like a bad dream. Yeah, it seems to be a bad dream. To cover up the embarrassment, Roland stood up. No one has a good dream when they come here. I just took a beating for you. Do you need to introduce yourself? Cut, you're so self-righteous. I didn't ask you to help me, and I was knocked out. It's so embarrassing. Wen Yan, Roland looked angry. I just helped you. Without me, you would have been beaten by the warden. Before Roland finished speaking, I'm Bai Ling. And you, who are you? You can call me Roland. I'm just an unknown person. I just heard them say you escaped from prison. Escape? I did. I escaped from the Green Island prison in the north. But I was caught soon. Hearing this, Bai Ling was shocked. Green Island prison. I've heard of it. The guards there are very strict. How did you do it? Seeing Bai Ling inquiring about his details, Luolan frowned. Do you want to trick me and report to the warden? Fuck you. I am a warrior of the Chinku Fox clan. How could I be in cahoots with the human race? I'll kick you to death. So you are from the Chinku Fox clan. Hazen is the highest warrior of your race, right? Just you? What's that look on your face? If you have the ability, untie me. And see if I can kill you. Do you know how many people they killed by capturing me? If I wasn't locked up, I could tear this prison apart. Do you believe it? Okay, don't worry. I shouldn't doubt your honor. What a murderous aura. I'm just a little wary. They keep male and female demons together. I always feel it's a conspiracy. I'm worried they want to confuse you. You're overthinking. In their eyes, we are just a group of uncivilized beasts. Like domesticated animals. What's the big deal about being locked together? Isn't it like that in Obdong prison? Well, of course, I'm not as pretty as you. Well, since you have dispelled your concerns, let you see. Bai Ling didn't know what tricks Roland would play. But the next second, she was shocked and couldn't close her mouth. With a click, Roland's handcuffs fell to the ground with a snap. Nimi, how did you do that? This kind of handcuffs are specially developed for us demons. I can't use the power of the demon box. Of course, I can't use the power of the yell. I use this. What is this? It's a lock-picking tool I invented myself. It can also be used to pick ears. You open the lock with such a small thing. Otherwise, the lock is not as complicated as you think. The more high-tech, the easier it is. The old Ludu prison is more complicated than this. I opened it. I'm in Xianwu country. I've been a thief for so many years. I've opened many locks. There are more complicated ones. It's not difficult for me. So you're a thief. Correction. I'm a master thief. How did you bring things in? There are detectors inside. That's even easier. Watch carefully, don't blink. I saw Roland clamp the steel needle in both hands. When Roland opened his hands again, the steel needle had disappeared. The scene in front of her shocked Bai Ling. Wow, how fast your hands are! Where did you hide the thing? However, in the next second, Luolan slowly moved her hand towards Bai Ling. Bai Ling was scared. What are you doing? Don't mess around. I'll bite you. At this moment, Roland suddenly pulled out the steel needle from Bai Ling's clothes. Don't worry, I'm just taking this thing from you. How did you do that? How could you hide it on me? By using your attention on my hands, so that you have no time to feel your own changes. The moment my hands are spread open, I can bounce it anywhere I want. It's that simple. That's how you brought it in. Yes. I just need to hide the tool on the guard before security. Qualified, no contraband. Then I pass the inspection smoothly, and then take back my things. Are you sure the guard won't be checked? I'm not sure. So I put it on the warden. So what are you going to do next? Of course, I want to leave this hell. Roland, do you have a way to get out of here? Since I can escape from Green Island prison. I can escape from here. I can't stand being locked up here as an experiment. If I must die, I'd rather die on the way to escape. Seeing Roland's arrogance, Bailing was a little speechless. So you already have a plan. I do have one. I can't. This plan requires a powerful helper. Are there? Are there any powerful characters? Those who are highly cultivated demons. Hearing this, Bailing was overjoyed. Roland, to be honest, I am the kind of demon you mentioned. Looking at the weak Bailing in front of him, Luolan showed a skeptical expression. Just you? Seeing that Roland didn't believe her, Bailing was a little anxious. She immediately revealed her title. Boy, it seems that you don't know the Chinku clan at all. As in, what this title means. Untie my handcuffs. I'll show you the fear I bring to the human race. At this time, Roland's face was frowning, but actually secretly delighted. You're wrong, Chinku Bailing. I already know your strength. I know very well. I know exactly what a monster you will release. Maybe you're just testing me. The moment I open the handcuffs, I will kill you. Come on, open it. And release my restraints. I will take you out of here. But for the mission, I have no choice. Meanwhile, in the warden's office, the warden is talking to a mysterious person. Don't worry, sir. I have arranged for Luol to enter. But if I really have to do that, I'm afraid Luol will be in danger. This is an order. Okay, don't worry. I'll make sure to complete the mission. The warden, who received important instructions, showed a meaningful smile. Luo Chenyuan, we need to cooperate well. On the other hand, Roland has helped Bailing unlock the handcuffs. Seeing the real Bailing, Luolan looked terrified. His legs couldn't stop wanting to step back. Boy, are you scared? I didn't expect you to have such skills. I like it. I haven't felt free for a long time. This feeling of oppression from head to toe. It feels even scarier than what is written in the data. This feeling is comparable to that of the bad woman Medusa. At this moment, Roland was prepared for the worst. However, the next second, he felt that the Chinku Lake in front of him didn't seem very smart. Chinku Lake was sniffing left and right excitedly, as if looking for something. What's going on? The situation seems a bit out of control. This is also what I am most worried about. Although Midi has laid everything out, there's one point that is uncontrollable. Just when Roland was worried, Bailing suddenly became excited and covered her ears. Although it smells a bit bad, but this is the air of freedom. This Banshee, is the biggest unknown factor. According to the intelligence, Qingku Bailing used to be on the front battlefield. Such a prisoner who was just caught and detained is the most likely to gain trust. But his strength exceeded my expectations. And his personality is hard to grasp. I can't fail. Lydius won't let me go. Roland's Meads. The only ending for a loser is live for everything you cherish. Then use all means to enter the core of the demon race. When I need you, you are the sharpest knife. The sharpest knife. The plan cannot deviate. Everything must be under my control. At this time, Bailing has calmed down from the excitement. And calmed down. He looked at Roland with confusion. The feeling of being stared at, which made Roland's heart beat faster. And beads of sweat ran down his cheeks. The next second, Bailing suddenly flew like a crow and directly tackled Roland. Her fingers gently stroked Roland's chest. I almost forgot you. Who are you? Which sect are you from? Has such superb lock-picking skills. At this moment, Roland's instinct felt a threat of death. His pupils narrowed. It only took him 0.25 seconds. He answered Bailing's question. I'm from the desolate royal family in the northwest. The lock-picking skill. I learned it from a human craftsman in Shanwo Kingdom. Unfortunately, the craftsman died, so I lived by stealing in the immortal martial kingdom. Bailing didn't believe it and continued to ask, Really? You're not lying to me, are you? At this time, Roland's psychological defense was about to break down. The pressure Bailing gave him was too strong. Boy, your heart is beating fast. Faster, just when Roland thought he was doomed. Suddenly, Qingku Bailing changed her tone. She said that she almost forgot. She almost forgot the business, and she wanted revenge. Seeing Roland's puzzled expression, Bailing told him fiercely, Warden Tai dared to do that to him. He must die. Hearing this, he quickly spoke out to stop, saying that the most important thing now is to escape. There will be opportunities. Qingku Bailing looked at Roland for a while. She actually agreed miraculously. But he couldn't stay here for a moment. She asked Roland what the complete plan was. Now he wants to get back on track. Roland planned to follow the original script. Then he pointed to the cripple beside him, indicating that he needed the warden. When he was captured, he had seen pipes on the mountain with a large diameter, and dozens of people could escape through it. Such an important thing as the pipeline structure diagram must be in the warden's office. All they need to do is to kidnap the warden. After getting the drawings, and use the warden as cover, and withdraw into the pipeline. That's why he wanted to find powerful monsters to help him. Otherwise, he can't even beat the warden, let alone the plan. As a result, Bailing's madness exceeded Roland's expectations again. He will temporarily become the back of us. Of course, Roland didn't dare to talk about this topic. To persuade Bailing, they now need a reason. Reason to approach the warden. Bailing assured him he has the information that the human race wants which the warden cannot refuse. A moment later, Bai Ling reluctantly stretched out his hands. Hands were cuffed again. Bai Ling also returned to her normal appearance. This scene made Roland very happy. Everything was going according to the plan. Then he began to shout for U2. But the U2 failed and almost got a thunderbolt elbow strike. Fortunately, Bai Ling spoke up, asking U2 to take her to the bottom. Yu himself hid the information of the demon in Beijing and the high position. The warden in the office was overjoyed when he heard this. He was overjoyed. He didn't expect that the joint operation could gain an intelligence credit. Luolan thought that Bai Ling would go on with the original plan. Bai Ling counted the number of people. Suddenly, Luolan was told that he had a sudden idea of a plan, saying they should jump out of the window. This was indeed unexpected by Roland. If they choose to jump directly out of the window, Qingku and Bai Ling might be in danger, but he specified Liang, not to mention the density of the reefs below and thousands of meters above the sea. If they jumped down like this, he was afraid that it would be hard to collect the body. Xiaowan, he hurriedly asked Bai Ling why she was staring at the mirror. Bai Ling looked at him with the look of a fool. Their ultimate goal is to escape. Now there is a faster and more direct way. Why not choose it? Of course, Roland knew this. He asked Bai Ling if she knew how high it was. They won't jump down, and they will probably die. But Bai Ling confidently asked Roland to trust her. If he doesn't believe, he can stay. Anyway, he can unlock the door. He can escape another time by opening the lock. If Bai Ling ran away, he is an accomplice. Tomorrow, Bai Ling can help him burn incense. Bai Ling looked at him with a sneer. So you have no choice, right? At this moment, the warden finally couldn't sit still, asking what they were whispering about. Tell the information quickly. Don't play tricks. If you want to make trouble here, the consequences would be unbearable. After saying that, he glanced at Roland and asked them to think about their families. Don't you want to go back alive? Roland didn't need to think. He knew. Warden must have been told by that woman. Seeing this, no longer discussed with Roland, she glanced at the prison guards behind her, indicating that the warden should come closer. The information was only told to him. At this time, the warden didn't know that the plan had been exposed by Bai Ling, and even reviewed the plan process in his mind. Suddenly, he realized something. Mida's plan was successful. But what about himself? If Qingku Bai Ling killed him halfway, where could he go to complain? Obviously, Qingku Bai Ling had written his death on his face. Just when he was in a dilemma, he noticed Roland's eyes. Roland wanted to tell him. He heard that Bai Ling was going to escape through the window and asked him to be prepared, forcing Bai Ling to return to the plan. But the warden glanced at the window and directly gave a reverse interpretation. Sister Suadi, it turned out that Lord Roland was hinting at himself, that he could jump out of the window and escape. In this way, he wouldn't be kidnapped. He is worthy of being his noble. Once again, he saved him from danger. Roland looked at his expression. He was dumbfounded. Did this guy understand what he meant? He blinked his eyes almost blind. So the warden stopped near Qingku and Bai Ling. and suddenly laughed that he had seen through their little trick. They wanted to trick him over and confidently revealed Roland's original plan and said them all, indicating that they had no chance to tell the information to avoid physical pain. Seeing this, Bailing didn't hide and opened the handcuffs to attack. The warden immediately possessed by the actor and expressed disbelief that they could unlock the handcuffs. He shouldn't have put Roland in the same cell with him. It turns out that he can unlock. No wonder he could escape from the Green Island prison. After that, the warden took out the walkie-talkie and started calling the assault team in the prison and activated the emergency eye. Now, Chinku Bailing could only choose to change jobs. Seeing this, dense bullets swept towards Bailing like raindrops. Seeing this, he rushed to Roland's side in one step and used his 5 tails to deflect all the bullets. After doing this, he asked Roland to get ready for himself. At this time, Roland had already greeted the warden. Page 15, grandfather. If he doesn't die this time, he would definitely kill this bastard when he came back. The warden also followed the routine of making a full set. A long spear appeared out of thin air, and lightning flashed from the tip of the spear. Judging from the warden's performance, Bailing confirmed that he had reached the realm of condensing tea, which is the 3rd realm of human realm. The warden misunderstood Bailing's words and affirmed them. There are 720 acupoints in human body, and 206 are open to gather ki into 10 and turn into everything. Today, he can't escape. Facing a strong man like the warden, Bailing couldn't kill him in an instant. He asked Roland to follow him. He really wanted to jump. When he was about to approach the window, the warden's spear suddenly killed and pulled Roland away from Bailing. But the white collar just glanced at him and then turned to blow up the window. Just when Roland thought the plan was going to fail, a shot from the warden gave him a god assist. Bailing swept the warden away with her long whip and wrapped around his feet. The next second, the sense of weightlessness took over his body. Bailing took him and jumped off the sea. Seeing the face about to escape, the warden said sorry to Roland. According to the instructions above, Roland must be seriously injured and leave today. The golden spear delivered a strike, piercing through Roland's parents. The movement behind also reached Bailing. This was a scene he had never imagined. The golden spear quickly turned into jade, leaving Roland's parents. Seeing this, wrapped him with her tail. Finally, the two of them fell into the deep sea together. The warden quietly watched this scene, ordered the Marine Patrol to hunt down the escapee. In the 3rd sea area, the soldier just reported no abnormalities. A black shadow emerged, leaped out of the sea at an extremely fast speed. It was a ball made of fluff. Bailing immediately spread out her cyan arc tail with a demonic look in its eyes. It landed on the deck and started a massacre, even if the soldiers held guns. But in front of Bailing's terrifying physical strength, were still useless. In a short time, only one person was left alive on the patrol ship. After getting the information that the crew could drive the ship, asked him to steer the ship to the Yao Sea closest to the 3rd sea area. After doing this, she carefully put Roland down. Looking at Roland's distorted face from the pain, he whispered to reassure Roland. They are safe now. Then he asked the crew to get the medical kit. As the blood cloth on the ground piled up more and more, Bai Ling sat silently aside. Although Roland's face was still in pain, but at least it stopped. In his memory, Roland returned too, the small home full of laughter and joy. However, this happiness didn't last long. A voice that terrified him sounded from behind. Luolan turned around and subconsciously said, Lan Muyan. She was wearing a pink trench coat and a black cheongsam inside. Sexy and threatening. She corrected Roland to call her Lan Mulian 大人, saying a straight kick, kicking Roland to the ground. She asked Roland how long he would sleep. His family couldn't wait for him to sleep like this. Soon, Roland's eyelids opened with difficulty. Seeing this, Bai Ling, who had been silent, asked if he had another nightmare. Roland didn't deny it. He half rose to express his gratitude to Bai Ling. At this time, Bai Ling's face was no longer murderous. With a gentle tone, saying that if she hadn't fired him, she wouldn't have escaped. Their Wolf clan has a strong innate recovery ability and should recover after a period of time. Compared to this, Roland wanted to know where they were now. Bai Ling didn't hide anything. She told Roland about their environment and where they were going to Roland. Suddenly, the hull shook violently, almost capsized. Roland thought it was the enemy, but when he chased, he saw Bai Ling smiling, indicating that they had arrived. The closest demon country to Sea Area number 3, the Dark Sea. The sea here has miracles that Roland has never seen before. There are whirlpools everywhere. Ordinary ships can't sail here again. No wonder Princess Xiangwu Bohai was defeated. After listening, there was a touch of sadness in her eyes. The Xiangwu kingdom is powerful now. Without this sea as a barrier, the southern part of the demon kingdom would have been lost. At this moment, the group shook again. Roland was a little scared. Water and fire are ruthless. It wouldn't show mercy just because they were demons. If they go further, the boat might capsize. Bai Ling gave him a gentle smile, telling him not to panic. She wouldn't let him die. After saying that, she began to make, which Roland couldn't understand. And the sound spread farther and farther until it reached the ears of the demons stationed here. Merman is a deep-sea fish in the Dark Sea, belonging to deep-sea fish. Its full name is Deep-Sea Red Roar, and the sound that Bai Ling just made is the communication power of the demon in the Dark Sea. Facing the inquiry, Bai Ling immediately revealed her identity as Hazin of Qinku tribe, saying that as long as they escort her back to Hancheng, there will be a reward. Seeing that people were still skeptical, Bai Ling no longer hides her demonic aura, asking if they could be happy now. After doing this, Bai Ling asked them to start from now on, not to leave her sight, to avoid the news being leaked. These words made Roland sense the atmosphere of internal strife. In a mansion in Hangcheng, an evil reported that the third lady had entered the city. The male demons were slightly shocked. She could escape from the human prison, and there was no wind on the way back. They missed the best opportunity to act. At the Hancheng Pier, Luolan looked around with a curious look and felt like he had returned to the human city. The leader of the human, and said goodbye to Bai Ling. Hope he is well in Hancheng. Bai Ling smiled after hearing this, She said his name is Ao Jiang, right? I will ask the Admiral of the Coast Guard, Ao Shao, to help him get a general's position. Ao Jiang immediately knelt down and showed 100% attitude. Bai Ling looked at the tall buildings in front of her. Luo Lan was a little dazed. He didn't expect the demon city to be so prosperous. For Roland's amazement, Bai Ling understood. Although the demon country is overall behind Xianwu, Han City is adjacent to the Black Sea, with crisscrossing waterways and prosperous trade. It is also a key defense point. It is heavily guarded. It is one of the 3 capitals of the demon country, second only to the capital. It's hard not to be prosperous. Roland was curious. Where are they going to get the white silk now? She tidied up her clothes. She said home lightly. Soon, a row of luxury cars drove straight out in the middle. And Roland's puzzled gaze stopped in front of them. Bai Ling was also full of doubts. Luo Lan was curious. It's here to pick him up. What a big pomp. The door opened. A female demon with a single horn walked out, with an evil and graceful figure, making Roland's face flush. What a charming woman. The witch's name is Jie Yu, is Bai Ling's personal maid. She told the white spirit ancestor, after learning that she had escaped. The entire demon was excited and danced with joy. At this moment, Bai Ling can't see the slightest trace of the female lunatic in prison, with tears in her eyes, asking if the ancestor was well. So, the mistress and her servant cried in front of Roland and started crying. The prison replied to Bai Ling. After he was arrested, Lao Yuan missed her day and night. After saying that, he realized that Roland was standing nearby and asked his identity. The sudden question, which made Roland a little confused. Bai Ling helped him answer Liao Jiu and said that he helped her escape from prison. This made Roland realize and greeted Ji Yu. Unexpectedly, Ji Yu reacted so strongly and bowed 180 degrees to him. The gesture of her body, which teased Roland, a man, all the time. Fortunately, Bai Ling wanted to go home quickly. Let Roland end his interaction with the female elf. Otherwise, it would be hard for him to resist as a pure boy. Perhaps seeing Roland's embarrassment, Bai Ling asked him to live in the same city. The two kept their distance in the car. Seeing Roland's eyes wandering, Bai Ling asked him to ask her anything he wanted. He saved her and not to be restrained in front of her. Luo stopped pursuing Yanni and said, saying he didn't want to be associated with a big shot like Bai Ling, and hoped that Bai Ling could just drop him off. These words undoubtedly aroused Bai Ling's curiosity. He said he helped her survive a near-death experience. Didn't he want to be repaid? With the power of his family, this repayment is enough to change his fate. Luo Lan was puzzled. What is Bai Ling's identity in his family? Bai Ling had nothing to hide about it. This place was not originally called Hanchang, but Qingku City. It was the holy city of the Fox Demon clan. His ancestor was the king of the holy city, the nine-tailed fox. After Qingku Red, in the battle of 10,000 demons, Qingku was defeated and surrendered to the king of demons. Qingku City was named Hanchang, meaning the demon king. They have guarded the border for generations. Later, the demon king was not restrained. His clan was powerful. 3 major clans and 24 small clans to rule Hanzhou. Now in Hanzhou, the Qingku clan, the 4 major families, the A, Shang, Yu clans. Qingku is the leader. Luo Lan listened. immediately began to play hard to get, indicating that although he is also a demon, he had been in the immortal martial arts since he was young, but he knew nothing about these illusions. Bai Lin gave him an interesting look, saying that he still refused her repayment. But Roland was still very determined and kept his previous idea. He only thought that Bai Ling's family background and didn't want to be corrupt. Now, hearing this, he wants to stay away. This obviously made Bai Ling a little discouraged. Roland didn't want to have anything to do with her. Seeing this, Roland shook his head hard, indicating that he really couldn't. Hearing this, Bai Ling felt very scared, saying Roland didn't accept more money. Money always needs to run. After all, he still has to live here. Roland didn't refuse this, although he didn't know what the next task was. But he really didn't have any money. It was Bai Ling who responded, a loud shout to shut up. Stop talking nonsense and be quiet. So the two sat in silence for a long time, until the vehicle reached its destination, Chinku. Seeing the familiar three characters in front of him, Bai Ling muttered that he came back to guard the door. The guests were shocked and shouted loudly and rushed into the mansion. They wanted to spread the news of Bai Ling's return. But the moment the three entered the mansion, an incongruous voice came from not far away. The steward of Chinku Mansion is Chinku Lian. He called the servants rude and unruly and shouted recklessly in the mansion. The guest hurriedly explained and told the butler about Bai Ling's return. Unexpectedly, when the butler saw Bai Ling, not only did he not look happy, but also punished the guest to avoid his offense. Kneel here. Spank him 60 times as a warning. Bai Ling mocked the butler, saying that he was so arrogant. Today, Mao was happy to see her return. He was happy and forgot his propriety. Could he please forgive him for his sake? But the butler didn't intend to give Bai Ling face, asking Bai Ling to see the brush first. I'd better handle the scary thing myself. Luolan watched all this. Without thinking, Roland knew that the butler and Bai Ling were not on good terms. There must be someone behind him. Bai Ling was also angry at this time, with demonic energy floating all over, indicating that if she insisted on getting involved, but the butler still refused, saying that the prejudice of the servants in Chinku Mansion are all under the control of the chief steward. He just does his duty. Everything in the chief steward's room is decided by the master. After he finished punishing, if Bai Ling felt it was unfair, she can report to the master. He will be dealt with by the master. He also added that this is the rule. Seeing that Bai Ling was about to be inflamed by anger, Ji Yu spoke up in time. The butler actually contradicted the young lady. He must go and tell the ancestor and ask the ancestor to punish him. The butler still refused to accept it. She reminded Ji Yu not to forget her identity. She is just a maid beside the young lady. The master hates gossip in the house the most. She advised her not to leave. She has no place to speak here. This made Ju lose all his energy instantly. And the butler began to urge Bai Ling to leave. Bai Ling muttered in her heart, "It's like this again. Another failure. As long as that man stands here, the old fox's last day. This humiliation will never be erased." He was really unwilling. Just then, a strange voice sounded in the butler's ear, asking if he was Lin. Then the sound of a foot hitting the face was heard. Roland's move undoubtedly shocked everyone here, including Chu Bailing. Luolan stopped, looked at the butler with a disgusted look, saying that the dead slave who goes against the sky, I've endured you for a long time. The butler, who was arrogant just now, was kicked to the ground. The butler shouted at Roland, asking his identity. What Roland hated most was dogs relying on their masters, saying he sets rules for others, but he ignored the rules himself. As the butler of the mansion, should execute the master's will, but he openly disobeyed the young lady's will. Do you think you can override the master? When he said this, the butler was speechless, saying he was taught. He asked Roland's health again. Bailing was strong. Roland was his savior. After hearing this, knowing that he couldn't do anything to Roland for now, and took his anger out on Amal, saying he was capable. Miss is pleading for him. And get out. After that, he looked at Bailing again, indicating that the ancestor is still waiting. Hearing this, Bailing also calmed down and replied, the butler took Luogang to the depths of the mansion. One person, one pot, passing by each other. Each of them showed an unhappy expression to the other. Qingku clan's ancestor, Qingku Dan. He asked Bailing why she hadn't arrived yet. The maid couldn't remember how many times the ancestor asked. She could only comfort him and told him to wait. Just then, a maid came to report. Miss Bailing is here. Qingku Dan heard this. His whole body trembled and stood up, and wanted to go outside to greet her in person. But before he could get up for long, Bailing's figure walked into the room. At the moment of meeting, tears welled up in Bailing's eyes again. It shows that the relationship between them is very good. Bailing told him not to worry. She was unharmed. After hearing this, quickly noticed Roland beside him. Bailing introduced Luolan as before, and introduced Roland's general identity. But Qingku Dan was obviously an old and wise fairy, asking Roland to tell him how they escaped. Meanwhile, the butler is reporting Bailing's return to the master, and Luolan, the benefactor. Qingku clan's patriarch Qingku Olo, he told the butler he would not meet Bailing. Everything remains the same. As for Roland, to give Roland a random reward. Don't change it. The rules of the Qingku clan. At this time, Qingku Dan has heard Roland's escape story. He praised Roland. He didn't expect that he had such a powerful ability. After that, he continued to inquire about Roland's details. In his heart, Roland cursed him as a sly fox and started to tell a little story. He is from the Northern Wolf clan, but just a branch, not the main branch. When he was young, the northern desert city and surrounding villages suffered drought, and there was no harvest in the fields, and there was a merchant city in the forest. It belongs to the border. They knew the Xiangwu department was prosperous. To survive, he followed his people to smuggle to Xiangwu tribe, to seek a way to survive. Later, he learned the skill of unlocking and started stealing for a living. But he often walks by the river. Sooner or later, he got caught. He was still caught. He was imprisoned in Wudong prison for a few days and found an opportunity to escape. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came out, he was caught by Roland's 9 truths and 1 lie. Even an old fox like Qingku Dan couldn't find any flaws. After the greeting, he asked Roland what reward he wanted. This time, before Roland could speak, Bai Ling, who had been hanging up, started to speak. Luo Lan said he didn't care about their reward, saying that told Xingqiu Dan Roland's attitude in the car and compared their family as a flood and beast in Roland's heart. Seeing this, his face immediately turned pale. He hurriedly explained that he thought he could escape, thanks to Bai Ling's help, so he didn't need to repay. They just helped each other. When he finished, Bai Ling was very playful at him. As for Qingku Dan, it was another polite compliment, but he still wanted to express his gratitude to Roland. Suddenly, the butler asked to see him and passed on Aolu's meaning to Qingku Dan. After hearing this, she turned her head away and snorted. From the butler's words, Luolan heard that the head of the family was probably Bai Ling's father. The relationship between them is not good. Then Qingku Dan spoke up to defend her granddaughter, saying that if she didn't want to come, she should just say so and find some unpleasant excuses. Facing this ancestor, the butler became much more honest, saying the master really had something to do and hoped he would forgive him. Qingku Dan didn't plan to pursue it further. However, there is one more thing that needs the master's decision. Is Roland Bai Ling's savior? The butler said that the master has already instructed. The patrol team in the Fire God Street in the north needs a leader. The position is neither high nor low, which is suitable for young talents like Mr. Roland. Hearing the words Fire God Street, Bai Ling frowned slightly. She said that place was a no man's land, where people are mixed. The previous action captain died mysteriously. Is it harm or reward? She started to beg for a position, hoping that Roland would join him in the army.